The ongoing Africa Military Games 2024 in Abuja have drawn attention across the continent, featuring fierce competition and a blend of strategy, speed, and precision. The sport has captivated both participants and spectators. The Africa Military Games has showcased exceptional talent from military personnel representing over 30 nations. Among the competitors, athletes from Ghana, Algeria, and Kenya, as well as the host country, Nigeria, have dominated the spotlight. Each sporting activity has been a testament to the physical and mental discipline honed by military training. Nigeria's team, bolstered by home support, has been particularly impressive, advancing in both singles and double category games. Well, joining us very shortly to discuss the essence of the game would be General Christopher Musa, the Chief of Defense Staff. He's also going to be joined by Segun Odegbami, who is the former national team captain and the national ambassador for sports diplomacy. Well, while we wait to join them, let's just quickly touch on it, gentlemen. I mean, one of the highlights of this has been Private Blessing Akpan of the Nigerian Army, who made history, becoming Nigeria's first ever gold medalist at the track and field event during the Africa Military Games. She triumphed in the 100-meter hurdles, clocking about 15.1 seconds to cinch gold, narrowly edging out Ghana's Stephanie Abu, who finished just about 15.54 seconds. Another Nigerian Army personnel, of course, Private Stella Agu, also earned a medal as she secured a bronze in the same event. I think it's really nice to see our military personnel engaging with other countries, and I believe, and it's one of the questions I'm going to put across to Mr. Odegbami, of course, about how it promotes that inter-military cooperation among all of these African countries.
So this is sort of like the Olympics, as it were, of the military and across African countries. And it's a very good one, that we're having a game like this, also heavily sponsored and supported by the private sector. And I deliberately talked about the Olympics for a reason, because when the Frenchman Baron Pierre de Coubertin started, the work as regards the bringing back the modern Olympics, and we had the first Olympic Games, the essence was about participation, was about solidarity, was about concord, was about friendship. And that's why, as the saying goes, it's not about, winning in general, but it's about participation. It's about getting people from the military, to be able to participate, interact, share ideas, and no better environment to do that in a sporting environment, I must have to say. And when you even check historically, it's not today men of the forces, either the police or the military, have done well in sports. We always celebrate the popular Chinua Ajunwa. She came out of the police, and she did so well, bringing honor to this country. It is also a veritable place to be able to tap talent and athletes, for furtherance of sport in this country. Also, apart from the communion, the coming together of all of these soldiers and this military officers from all around Africa, it will also foster peace and unity, because there's something called, the subtle diplomacy that happens as regards it. It's also going to, parade or show Nigeria in a good light as a champion, of some sort to these nations. Because a host nation, people come in, they're not only immersing in the sporting activities, they're also immersing in, Nigeria itself, the goodness of Nigeria, what Nigeria has to offer. And countries from all around Africa looking up to Nigeria. Till today, there are still many nations around the world that talk about the memorable experiences they had in Festac in 1977, when we had the Festival of Black Art and Culture. So having something like this and hosting for Nigeria would also help. We would also definitely, get, for the vendors around there, we would also get people that can sell to these people. It's going to also bring some form of exchange to Nigeria, in terms of currencies and things like that. So there's an economic part, there's a sports solidarity part, there's a global peace part or an African peace part, there's an African solidarity part to it, and there's also a business angle to it, as regards the games. But what falls short for me is, where's the television side to this game? Where are the big television companies? What's the rights like? Who is selling them? How can this also be used in time for the military? I hear it's around the Chief of Defense Staff. Okay, we'll bring in Christopher Musa.
General Christopher Musa, thank you very much for joining us. Well, General Musa,
Thank you, Dr. Albert.
Yes, the military games established in 2002, Nigeria hosting, 40 countries in attendance. Nigeria leading the medals table with about 169 medals, 85 gold medals. Quite impressive.
Very good.
Could we start this conversation by you telling us the significance of these, African military games at the level of cultural diplomacy and at the level of person-to-person diplomacy and sports diplomacy. Diplomacy in the 21st century having attained many more dimensions. This as an evidence of it. But how important is it to Nigeria?
Thank you very much, Dr. Abati. Thank you, members of the crew. Always a privilege to be on Arise. Today, I'm here not on the kinetic aspect, but the non-kinetic. We've always said that the non-kinetic aspect has a major role to play in the peace efforts in the fight against insurgency and terrorism. The significance of these games is, one, to foster unity among Nigerians, among Africans, among all militaries in Africa. We know that we're facing similar challenges all over the country. The challenges we're facing in Nigeria is not only peculiar to Nigeria, but to all other nations. This is also part of the soft power we are projecting to show that Nigeria is still the giant of Africa in all aspects, economy, security, into sports, and all other aspects. So it's very, very important that we get it right. And we're so happy that over 20 countries are here, including Mali, Burkina Faso, Libya. These are countries that people feel they've left ECOWAS and they had nothing to do with Nigeria. But to show that sports transcends all this, and the importance is that we're showcasing Nigeria as a peaceful, well-organized country that is ready and always there to host Africa and other nations. I want to thank Arise for the opportunity to always showcase the armed forces. You are partners in progress, and we're very, very proud of you. Dr. Abati, please permit me to introduce one of our own, a legend, the mathematician, as we say, Dr. Segun Odegbami. He's here in the studio with me. Dr. Segun Odegbami, nice to have you too.
Thank you. Mine is that usually a major international sports event is a panacea for national development. But in Nigeria, if you want to host such an event, you face a brick wall because of what we experienced in 2003 when we hosted Koja. And if you remember, Koja was riddled with scandals. It was a financial brigandage, wastermania of different kinds. And so we abhor hosting events. And for 21 years, we haven't done anything that would have advanced us to use sports as a major developmental tool until somebody who was brave enough and courageous enough to dare to change this narrative. And that's why I associate completely with the military this time for daring to do what the misdeeds of the past and to remove that curse. Because after Koja, if you see what happened, we now have a white elephant project in Abuja, a project that should be a cash cow, bringing in so much resources. They promised us it was going to be a major tourist destination, but it had gone to waste. So out of that waste now, we have one man who has championed a new day and a new course, brought in the hosting of these huge games, done it with resources that are very, very little. The stadium that they said was not fixable, he fixed the stadium within record time and not at high cost. Everything is functioning to a certain degree in the stadium now. People are going back. And that lost hope from ground level zero, we have now found a hero and we are rising. So that's why I'm completely supporting the military. You see me, wearing the military uniform now because I think this is a new dawn. The military has just brought a new dawn for sports development in this country. They've reminded us of the past, and they have shown us the way forward, a compass into the future.
Chief Odegbami, well, you say you are wearing military uniform. I hope they have a rank for people who support them, who endorse them. But let me ask you, now, how does this feed into the larger framework of Nigeria's competition. African military games, yes, under the rubric of African Continental Free Trade Agreement, cooperation, unity, person-to-person diplomacy, as I said earlier. Yeah, cooperation is a good idea. Collaboration is a good idea. But this, the way the military games is structured, and Nigeria is leading, we're told already in this year's event. Now, in terms of standards, do you see that they're strong enough to have soldiers who will represent Nigeria at the Olympics, in international competitions, in boxing, in wrestling, in swimming, as we have seen with the example of the police? Chief Odegbami first, before we come to General.
I didn't hear what he said.
Oh, okay.
I can't hear what he said.
Oh, okay, sorry. I think you had
he's
some
not
problem
hearing.
with the hearing. You still can't hear?
No.
Okay, he can't hear. I think they will fix it for him. Well, Dr. Abati, let me say, the armed forces over time have always contributed to the sporting world in Nigeria in the past. But I think somehow, probably because of the challenges of security, that the armed forces gradually stopped representing Nigeria. But we are in it. As we speak, we have a lot of Nigerian wrestlers that have been taking part in even the All African Games. They've won laurels for Nigeria in boxing, combat arms particularly, in other events. You remember in the past, we used to have Abbas Mohammed. Abbas Mohammed used to be the marathon runner. So we're doing that, and that's what we want to restore. It's been 22 years since the first edition. Now is the second, and we're hopeful that the next country will take up, and it will be probably after next 2 years, then we'll have this commission. But as it is, we are going to do specialist recruitment so that we go around the country, pick sportsmen that don't have opportunity, and present platforms for them to present themselves. And with the organization and the discipline in the military, I'm sure they will do better. If you had probably watched any of the events live, you will see that the standards are extremely very high. And we did not do it alone. We relied on the Sports Commission, on the federations. All members were there. Everything was done according to standard. And there was impartial. Yes, we have won a number of laurels because we have prepared well. We knew this was coming, and we started early enough. We had the inter-service competition where we selected our team, and they went into camp. And it was straight from camp that they came. And so you see the results we're getting. So yes, we're doing well. Yes, we're going to continue to do that. We'll develop more sportsmen for Nigeria so that they can win more laurels for Nigeria.
All right, then, thank you so much for that. And, I've seen some of these games, and I want to just find out exactly when we think about how you're able to balance the athletes that go through this rigorous military training in addition to their sports preparation, how you ensure that there's a balance between their responsibilities as soldiers and, of course, as competitors. And for just to add on to what you said before, the post-games impact, beyond the medals, beyond the victories, how do you ensure that these lessons, these relationships, these partnerships that are built during the game translate into long-term benefits for the athletes, for the nations, and of course for the continent? So if you can start with Mr. Segun Odegbami and then come back to General Christopher Musa.
What I have observed since I came into Abuja is that the level of organization, the level of discipline, the level of competition, and the level at which you find people actually imbibing the spirit of Olympism, which is about friendship, it is so high. And I think the military are actually setting a new standard for the rest of us. That is my biggest observation and the biggest takeaway. In those days, you had in every sports federation in this country a military person attached. And once they're in the federation, they carry with them that their attitude of being strict, being straightforward, being disciplined, and it impacts all of these federations. But since they have left that sphere, you now find this disorganization and so on and so forth. So I have seen a flawless organization in this competition. The friendship amongst the athletes, how they interact and eat together, how you go to a competition, you don't hear of somebody stealing something, you don't hear of fights, no hooliganism, no vandalism. I think that's the biggest takeaway. And the rest of sports must drink from this fountain. It shows the direction in which sports should be going, and the military are championing that cause.
Okay,
Good to also may add, for us,
Yes, go ahead.
for us, it's the moral component. Everything we do is about the morale of our troops. As long as our troops are happy, they will give you the best. Now, as we are conducting the sports and winning laurels, those of them in the trenches, those of them in the jungles, listen to news and see this, and it helps their morale, and they want to do more because they've seen their athletes also doing well. And the good thing about the military, it is so organized that we have different specialisms. In that we have those of them that are into sports, we have those of them that are into fight, those of them that are into signals, engineering, medical, and everybody. So we have different appendages that can operate under the same body. So nobody is distracted, everybody is focused, and we remain in doing that. And besides that, we've been able to showcase Nigeria to the world, to Africa, to everyone that Nigeria is safe. I'm sure you saw a video that has been trending about a Ugandan video man that had went around, it went viral. He went around Abuja and was lamenting that he was told that Abuja was dangerous, that a lot of criminals and everything was happening in Nigeria. But they're coming to see how Abuja is so clean, so organized, and this is an African country ruled by Africans, and he was amazed. And this is it. Before they came, a lot of them were informed. If you listen to international media, it's like Nigeria is a war zone. But they came and saw something different. And then the level of organization, as our legend here mentioned, has been wonderful. Within a very short period, we're able to put this together. Our prayers is that the facilities that we'll be able to revive should be sustained, should be maintained. Frankly speaking, myself as an individual, I never knew how large, how massive the stadium was until I came. Going around to see that we have a car park that could take up to 5,000 vehicles. We have so many places that we don't know about, but it is important that we put them to good use. I want to call on Nigerians to cooperate, to continue to support the armed forces, not only military, but into our sports. Tomorrow is the last day. We are rounding up tomorrow, and it's going to start something around 3 o'clock, 15:00 hours. We are calling on all Nigerians to come around, come and partner with us. Come, we're going to share our flag so that we fly the Nigerian flag and show that unity that we are all known for. So thank you very much.
Okay, so let's talk about the marketing, the sports marketing side of things. How are we going to ensure that we get this game on multiple channels? A lot more should be done as regards sports marketing, if probably we can have a sort of a thing where people can even bid for the rights in advance. And most importantly, what are we now going to do with the talents discovered here? How are we going to incorporate them into the bigger talent bulk, to be able to represent Nigeria and all of that? Then, is anybody doing the estimation of how much Nigeria is even going to gain, apart from the soft power diplomacy and all of that, in terms of monetary part of it, buying from businesses, buying from vendors, and how much is Nigeria going to gain? How much is going to come into the Nigerian economy from this competition? And how much have we spent as a country to host this?
Well, estimation, I'm sure it will come in all after that. But I can tell you it's a beehive of activity. If you go there to the stadium, it's a carnival, both day and night. After the events, we have sort of like a Mami market, like we call it, where live band is being played, people are selling and buying. And, a lot of countries came abroad. Some of them with very, very hard currencies to come and change. And so the economy too has been boosted. Within Nigeria, within Abuja itself, you can see that these guys are enjoying themselves. And it is that brotherliness, that love for each other that I think for us is key and critical. And for the sportsmen, this is just the beginning. Like I said, over time, we stopped organizing this kind of events. For those ones that have taken part here, we're putting them together. We're also going to form our own defense sports organization, working with all the federations. Now, the federations have seen and have taken note. Those of them that have performed remarkably well, they're going to put them into the overall team and try to develop them. That's what we intend to do. I'm sure you're aware that the barrack has a lot of talent. By the nature of our work, we're everywhere in Nigeria. So we'll also be on the lookout for other Nigerians that have talent but don't have the platform to present themselves. We'll bring them in and be able to harness them so that we can now present them to Nigeria, and then they will be able to win laurels for Nigeria, which is for us, I think, is very, very critical. And this is a very good platform for that.
Okay, thank you very much, General Musa, for joining us on the morning show. I was just going to, Chief Odegbami would like to say something, but I was going to ask one interesting question. That did you invite civil defense, police, and all these paramilitary organizations to this event too, so that they too can follow the example of the military? But let's have Chief Odegbami first.
I was just going to say that, there's a facility in Amsterdam called the Amsterdam Arena. It is owned by a football club, just an ordinary football club. They use it 8 hours every week. But that facility works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with all other related activities. You see, that stadium in Abuja was designed with that concept in mind, that stadium will be working day and night outside of the sport that actually takes place there. What this event has just done is to show us that possibility. If you go to the stadium now, you will find a huge amount of activity that is going on, both social and commercial. And that's just scratching it on the surface. I hear that place is going to be converted into a sports city in the long run, where banks and hotels and engagement facilities and so on and so forth can take place. That is the future. And we are just reminded, which I want to keep telling people, reminded by these games, AMGA 2024, that possibility exists. And we should not allow this achievement, this success that we have just attained now, to just diminish. We should just go from now onwards to go and attain that which we have set for ourselves. That's just the two contributions I want to make.
And just to I want to appreciate those that have contributed. On the monetary aspect, you won't believe how much was spent so far. And it's based on contribution we got from governors, from banks, so many individuals that are friends of the military. We'll give you the figures when we finish, but I can tell you it's rock bottom. It's really, really rock bottom.
Thank you very much,
It will amaze you how much we've spent. And then our medals. Our medals are here for Arise. Thank you very much.
Good one, General.
We didn't participate in this thing.
Maybe
we also want the military uniforms, like Chief Odegbami.
We have the tracksuits. Dr. Abati, we have the tracksuits for you. We'll send it to you.
Anyway.
Yes, we'll send it over.
Thank you, General.
Thank you very much, General Musa, and thank you, Chief Odegbami.